and welcome back to English Free Conversations. I'm Mike.
And I'm Robin. This podcast is designed to help you improve your English, especially if you already understand some of the basics but want to feel more confident in real conversations.
We speak slowly and use simple words so that you can follow along easily.
If you are enjoying our lessons and finding them helpful, please like and subscribe to our channel. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to English Free Conversations. I'm Mike.
And I'm Robin. We are very happy to be with you today.
This podcast is for you if you want to learn English by listening to real conversations. Today we have a very exciting topic. We are going to talk about travel.
Everyone loves to travel, and knowing the right words can make your trip much better. We will talk about the airport, the hotel, and asking for directions. We will speak slowly and clearly so you can understand every word.
Traveling is my favorite thing to do, but I know it can be scary if you do not know the language. Today, we will help our listeners feel confident. We will explain new words as we go. Let us start at the beginning of a trip, the airport.
That is a great place to start. When you arrive at the airport, the first thing you need to do is find your airline. You go to a specific desk to give them your bags and get your ticket. This place is called the check-in counter. Check-in counter, check-in counter, check-in counter.
The check-in counter is the desk where you show your passport and give your large suitcases to the airline staff. For example, you can say, "Excuse me, where is the check-in counter for Flight 102? It is a very important place because that is where your journey starts."
Exactly, Mike. And when you are at the check-in counter, the person working there will ask for your passport. They will also ask if you have any bags to check. Checking a bag means you give it to the airline and they put it under the plane. You do not carry it with you.
That is right. But you usually have a small bag that you take with you on the plane. We call this a carry-on bag. Carry-on bag, carry-on bag, carry-on bag.
A carry-on bag is a small suitcase or a backpack that you keep with you inside the airplane. It stays in the compartment above your seat. For example, you can say, "I have one suitcase to check and one carry-on bag." It is important to remember the size rules for a carry-on bag because every airline is different.
After you finish at the check-in counter, you get a piece of paper. This paper is very important because it allows you to get on the plane. It has your seat number and the gate number. We call this a boarding pass.
Boarding pass, boarding pass, boarding pass.
A boarding pass is your ticket to enter the plane. Without a boarding pass, you cannot go past security. For example, you can say, "Please have your boarding pass ready." It usually has a code that the staff will scan before you walk onto the plane.
Now, Mike, after we have our boarding pass, we have to go through a very important area. This is where they check our bags and our bodies to make sure everything is safe. This area is called security.
Security, security, security.
Security is the place where you put your bags on a belt to be scanned. You might have to take off your shoes or your jacket. For example, the officer might say, "Please put your liquids in the bin at security." It can be a bit stressful, but it is necessary for safety.
Once you are through security, you enter the departure lounge. This is a big area with shops and restaurants where you wait for your flight, but you need to find your gate. The gate is the specific door where you wait to get on your plane.
Gate. Gate. Gate.
A gate is the exit in the airport that leads to your airplane. Each gate has a number like Gate B5 or Gate 10. For example, you can say, "My flight is departing from Gate 22. You should always check the big screens in the airport to see if your gate number changes.
Sometimes flights are not on time. This is very common. When a flight is going to be late, we use a specific word. We say the flight is delayed.
Delayed, delayed, delayed.
Delayed means that something is happening later than the planned time. If your flight was supposed to leave at 2 o'clock, but now it leaves at 4 o'clock, it is delayed. For example, you might hear an announcement saying, Flight 55 is delayed by 2 hours. It is not fun, but it happens often.
That is true, Robin. While you wait at the gate, you might hear the staff talk about boarding. Boarding is the process of getting onto the plane.
Boarding, boarding, boarding.
Boarding is when the passengers start to enter the aircraft. For example, they might say, "We will begin boarding in 10 minutes." Usually they call people by groups or by row numbers.
When you finally get on the plane, you have to find your seat. There are two main types of seats that people talk about. One is next to the window, and the other is next to the walking path in the middle. The walking path is called the aisle.
Aisle, aisle, aisle.
The aisle is the long, narrow space between the rows of seats where people walk. If you sit in an aisle seat, it is easy to get up and go to the bathroom. For example, you can say, "I prefer an aisle seat so I can move around." Note that the letter S in this word is silent. We do not say aisle, we say aisle.
I always prefer the window seat because I like to see the clouds. After the plane takes off and flies for some time, it finally comes back down to the ground. This part of the trip is called the landing.
Landing, landing, landing.
Landing is when the airplane touches the ground at the end of the flight. For example, the pilot might say, "We are preparing for landing in London." It is the opposite of takeoff.
After we land, we have to go to a place to get our big suitcases back. This area has many moving belts with bags on them. We call this area baggage claim.
Baggage claim, baggage claim, baggage claim.
Baggage claim is the place in the airport where you collect your luggage after your flight. For example, you can ask someone, "Where is the baggage claim for the flight from New York?" You just wait for your bag to appear on the belt.
Now that we have our bags, we need to go to our hotel. Sometimes the hotel is far away, so we need to take a taxi or a bus. When you arrive at the hotel, you go to the front desk. This is very similar to the airport. You need to tell them you are there. We call this checking in.
Check in. Check in. Check in.
Check-in at a hotel is the process of registering and getting your room key. For example, you can say, "Hello, I would like to check in, please. My name is Mike." They will ask for your identification and sometimes a credit card.
The person who works at the front desk is the receptionist. They are there to help you. You might want to ask them about a very important thing in the hotel, which is the morning meal. We call this breakfast. Many hotels offer a free breakfast.
Breakfast, breakfast, breakfast.
Breakfast is the first meal of the day. In a hotel, you might ask, "What time is breakfast served?" Or "Is breakfast included in the price?" It is a great way to start your day before you go exploring the city.
If you have a problem in your room, like the lights do not work or you need more towels, you can call the front desk. But sometimes you want to go out and see the city. You might need to ask for directions. This can be difficult for beginners, but it is very useful.
That is right, Mike. One of the most important questions is how to find a specific place. You can start your sentence with, "Excuse me." This is polite. Then you can ask, "How do I get to the museum?" Or "Where is the nearest train station?"
Station, station, station.
A station is a place where trains or buses stop so people can get on and off. For example, you can say, "I am looking for the central train station." It is a very common word for travelers.
When someone gives you directions, they will use words like turn left, turn right, or go straight. Go straight is a very common expression.
Go straight. Go straight. Go straight.
Go straight means to continue moving in the same direction without turning. For example, a person might tell you, Go straight for 2 blocks and then turn left. It is a very simple instruction.
Another important word for directions is across from. This helps you find a building by looking at what is on the other side of the street.
Across from, across from, across from.
Across from means on the opposite side of something. For example, you can say, "The pharmacy is across from the supermarket." This helps you identify the location very quickly.
While you're walking around the city, you might get hungry. You will look for a restaurant. When you enter a restaurant, you usually wait for someone to give you a table. Then you ask for the list of food and drinks. This list is called the menu.
Menu, menu, menu.
A menu is the list of food and drinks that you can order at a restaurant. For example, you can say, "Could we have the menu, please?" In some places, they have a digital menu that you scan with your phone.
After you finish your delicious meal, you need to pay. You need to ask for the piece of paper that shows how much money you owe. In English, we call this the bill.
The bill, the bill, the bill.
The bill is the document that tells you the total price of your meal. In the United States, some people call it the check. For example, you can say, "Excuse me, can we have the bill, please?" You can pay with cash or a card.
Traveling is so much fun when you know these words. It makes everything easier. Robin, we have talked about many things today. We talked about the airport, the hotel, and the city. Do you think we should review the words for our listeners?
Yes, Mike, that is a great idea. Reviewing is the best way to remember new vocabulary. Let us go back to the beginning.
In the airport, we have the check-in counter. This is where you start your trip. Remember to have your passport and your bags ready. You will get your boarding pass. This is your ticket to get on the plane. You will also have a carry-on bag, which is the small bag you take inside the airplane with you.
Then you go through security. This is for safety. After security, you find your gate. The gate is where you wait for your flight. If your flight is late, it is delayed. When it is time to get on the plane, we call it boarding.
Inside the plane, you can choose an aisle seat if you want to walk easily. When the plane arrives at the destination, it is called landing. After you land, you go to the baggage claim to get your suitcases.
When you arrive at your hotel, you need to check in at the front desk. You can ask about breakfast, which is the morning meal. If you go for a walk in the city, you can ask for directions to the train station.
When someone helps you with directions, they might say, "Go straight." This means do not turn. They might say, "A building is across from another building." And finally, when you eat at a restaurant, you look at the menu to choose your food and you ask for the bill when you are finished.
That was a lot of words, but they are all very useful for beginners. If you are planning a trip, try to use these words. You can practice by writing them down or saying them out loud. Repetition is very important when you are learning a second language.
I agree, Robin. For our listeners, we hope this episode was helpful. Don't worry if you didn't understand everything the first time. You can listen to this podcast again. Listening many times is a secret to learning English faster.
Thank you so much for listening to the English Path podcast today. We had a wonderful time talking about travel with you. In our next episode, we will talk about food and cooking. It will be very tasty.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next time, and have a great day.
Goodbye. See you soon. And that's all for today's episode.
We hope you enjoyed the conversation and learned some new words and phrases.
Remember, the best way to learn is to practice regularly. Try to use the new vocabulary you heard today in your own sentences.
And if you missed any part of the conversation, you can always rewind and listen again.
And don't forget, if you found this lesson useful, please like and subscribe.
We release new episodes every single week, packed with practical English for everyday situations.
Your support is what allows us to continue offering these lessons completely free.
We love hearing from you in the comments below, so Feel free to ask any questions you have or suggest topics for future episodes.
We read every single comment.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you in the next episode.
Goodbye.